Okay, welcome everybody. And right now, what we're going to find out is there's nobody at the beginning, Tori. So it's the
I know.
best time to make any weird mistakes. Um,
I
Mistakes aren't a
usually pop
thing.
in right now.
Yeah, you can just like say all the things that like get tongue tied for a minute. No, okay.
Right.
I'm going to kick this off in the following way. I have had a podcast for like 5 or 6 years, I guess 6 years now. And we've talked a lot about pantry management, eating seasonally, preserving as you go from the garden, all sorts of things that to me seem fairly second nature because I've been doing it for 15 years. And with the latest environment where Roe versus Wade came through, and now there's protests that may be turning into rioting, the supply chain issues that are coming up, rumors of war, general instability is creating a lot of angst. People are waking up and realizing the system that they thought worked, the commercial food system, the commercial, like just in time retail model works great until there's a problem. And then when there's a problem, we have issues. There are also some crazy conspiracy theories that we will not go into today that say our population is going to be reduced by 75% in the next 2 years. We don't need to worry about that, right? Today, I wanted to take what we've talked about on the podcast, and welcome to the live stream, guys. If you end up having questions, just put them in all caps. I'll star them and hit them at the end unless they fit while we're going. But if any of the crazy conspiracies happen, if we melt down into civil war, it's not impossible that something like that happens, but if any of those like super extreme things happen, I hate to tell you this, but there's basically nothing you can do to prepare for that. You can't prepare for a tidal wave hitting the shore with no warning and wiping out 100,000 people in LA or a million people in LA. That area, if that happens, is going to be decimated, right? And I'm using that as an example because it's probably not going to happen, but that's the kind of crisis a lot of people have woken up and think they need to prepare for. And I say this because when that scale of problem happens, all of the things you stored, all of that may or may not be available to you. And even if you have a bank account of supplies, it's going to quickly deplete. If people know you have those supplies, it may not be as easy to defend as you think it is. And so I really think when we talk about building resilience into our lives and becoming more self-reliant, we need to prepare for the most likely things to happen, which is power outages that are short term, supply chain disruptions that can happen for a few weeks to a few months at a time, things of that nature that don't seem so big and unscalable. And if you prepare for those, you're more prepared for something huge that happens if something huge happens. But what you didn't do was go spend 10 years of your life living in the woods like a hermit, not doing anything to make your life today better. Because if you do the hermit retreat and nothing bad happens, you just wasted all that time. A. B, the thing that will help you through a giant, horrible crisis that none of us can even imagine what it would be like is having the right mindset, some skills developed, and a strong community. And even then, if something really catastrophic happens, guys, some of us won't make it. And that's why I don't focus on that. That's why we focus on solutions. And what I realized as I've been getting email after email after email about like how much rice and beans should I buy, those sorts of things, I realized we've talked about copy canning, which is a concept we took from the Survival Podcast. We've talked about developing a deep pantry in theory, but let's talk about developing a deep pantry and how to really tailor what you have on hand in a way that empowers you no matter what happens, if nothing happens or if something happens, with real people who face real challenges and have to go to work every day and sometimes stop by Taco Bell or something because dang it, I'm busy, right? And how does planning for that deep pantry work? And Tori, who is here, volunteered to join
I
in.
did, and I feel called out now.
You feel called out.
Has been my staple for a little bit since
Hey.
I've been recovering from COVID.
So Taco Bell is super easy to break into a list of ingredients.
Yes, that's true.
Pop-Up Homestead says, we are in a hermit retreat. Now, if your lifestyle design is I want to be off grid, retreating and living off the land, that's great. That's not hiding from the world, right? I mean, I'm kind of that way too on my homestead. So yeah, you may feel personally called out, but I had Chinese food twice in the last 2 weeks, which is my version of Taco Bell, because Taco Bell is not something I can eat. But I also made cauliflower crust pizza one day.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I bought the cauliflower crust at Aldi and then I made the pizza and that was dinner.
Okay.
Because
thank God you didn't make your own cauliflower crust.
No, I mean, I've tried that, but no. I mean, I am a badass and I can do almost anything from scratch.
That's true.
But that doesn't mean I always do. That doesn't mean I didn't stop and get hibachi on my trip, right? Even though I bring all the keto stuff. So, yeah. And Christy says, you can stop living your life if you focus too much on those scenarios. That's right. And we have a lot of fear out there. And the only way I think we counteract this fear is by taking back ownership of our lives and by being okay with getting Taco Bell when we're recovering from COVID, and just prepare as best you can and really know who your community is. Like I was talking to somebody, I don't have a partner in my life, and that can be a hard transition when you've had a partner in your life. At the same time, yeah, right. Tori and I are in a similar situation there. What I have, though, is a next door neighbor who is the most loyal person I've ever met in my life.
Tactical?
Yeah, Tactical and Nighthawk and Jenny's moving. But all of those people are like family to me, even though none of us are romantically involved, right? You don't have to be romantically involved to have each other's backs. So, Tori, do you have somebody like that in your life?
I do. And I've got, so my parents are literally one song away. I've timed it. Lightning Crashes. That is how far away, by live. They're that far away driving. So they're super close. So, and then my bestie moved here from California after I did, and she lives about 3 hours into Idaho, closer to the Canadian border than I am.
Yeah.
And she's big into the homesteading stuff too. And she has been talking to all sorts of people over there, and she comes back to me with, oh, they're doing this and they're doing this. I'm like, yeah, and this and this. So, because I've got you guys, and I'm always like sending her Jack and sending her LFTN podcast. And I'm like, dude, check this one out and check this one out. So she isn't regularly listening because she's off grid and doesn't have service. So I'm like, okay, when you get in town, listen to this one.
Okay. So our goal with Tori today is to help her decide, because she's gone through a major life transition in the last year. Did you move out or?
No, he did. I moved out for a month, and then he moved down to California.
Okay. So she has downsized for a very good reason in the family department, and it's you and one child, right?
Two
children.
Sorry, she forgot about one of you.
Sorry, guys. My informants have me all wrong. So it's three. It's a family of three who have busy lives. You have to earn income, right? Because which means you have to leave to go and earn income. And what we're going to do is talk through what she ate this week, and to the extent that she knows what her children ate this week. And we're not going to lie. If we went to Taco Bell, we just went to Taco Bell. If we went to Taco Bell twice a day all week, that's okay. We're going to write this down. I have a spreadsheet that I'll share so everybody can see it. We're going to take from that a list of ingredients, but we're also going to do something that I think is important. We're going to establish a couple of fill-in meals, because if she went to Taco Bell 7 days this week, I'm pretty sure from a preparing a deep pantry standpoint, Tori does not want to have a burrito every single day, twice a day. So no, I mean, we'll do that if we have to, but we don't want to have to do that. And then from there,
I grew up on making my own burritos.
Yeah, I mean, what you need is for all of us to come there and flash mob the freezer burrito set up for you, so you have like 20 in your freezer.
That'd be so rad.
Yeah, that's totally a thing. When we talk about GSD weekends, A GSD weekend that I think would be really good for some of us who are going through transitions and like feeling really taxed on time, single moms, is like, we're going to GSD some meals that just come out of the freezer and become meals, right? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, and I had something like that when I was after I had the first kid. So the bestie I was referring to, she's Mormon, and she got me signed up. They're so sweet. Even though I'm not Mormon, they signed me up for this meal train, and all these women every single day came and brought us dinner. So it was wonderful. Yeah.
You don't have to be Mormon for Mormons to be nice to you.
No, it's
That's
so
the
wonderful.
cool thing about Mormons.
They were great.
There's probably several watching right now.
I love you all.
Yeah, I mean, that's you know, the Mormon community, as much as there's been like national critique of different aspects, man, the culture of helping your fellow man in that community has always impressed me. And I talked to a friend who said, at the Bishop's Pantry, we have enough food to feed the country for a couple years, probably stored up.
Yeah, it's like a mini Costco. It's crazy.
Yeah, and and you don't have to be Mormon to participate. So, and that's something I've always liked about Mormons, is that they would rather that your faith come as faith rather than you have to pretend to be Mormon to get the benefit. So I've always appreciated it. Okay, that was a tangent. Hi, Nighthawk's on. My next door neighbor's on.
Hi, Nighthawk.
So I'm going to share a screen, and we have a spreadsheet that you will get, Tori. And hopefully it's not too small for everybody. I increased the font really huge. But we're going to start with meals. So we're going to go back to last Sunday. Do you eat 3 meals a day?
Usually? No, I usually only eat 2.
2. Do your kids eat 3?
I eat 3, yeah.
Okay. So what 2 meals do you eat?
Lunch and dinner.
Lunch and dinner, but they eat breakfast.
Yeah. They go to childcare, which is free for me because it's my parents. But but they're legit certified under federal guidelines with the USDA stuff and everything like that. So they have to offer them all, dinner and breakfast, and I obviously feed them dinner, or lunch and breakfast, and I obviously feed them dinner. So. Yeah,
I see Letty just joined the live stream. Letty, do you want to help me with this by working on this spreadsheet if I share it with you? Just let me know in the comments, because what I could use is somebody extrapolating from meal to a list of ingredients and how many servings, what the unit is. But if not, we'll get it done. I was going to have Leos jump on, but he had like actual family stuff to do. Okay, so last Sunday for breakfast, what did your kids have?
They had, let me pull that up. That one I know because they were with me and not at childcare. So
yeah.
Okay, so one had cinnamon life cereal and milk. And she also had a breakfast sandwich. And then the other one had banana bread and a Coke.
Cinnamon life. So breakfast sandwich?
Those croissant frozen ones, those Jimmy Dean ones.
And I'm having an issue with my keyboard where the uppercase B doesn't work if I hit the shift on the left side of the keyboard. So the S also does not work, which is super awesome. I should just go all lowercase.
I'm getting an amazing insight into Nicole's life right now.
Yeah, you are. I ordered a replacement keyboard. Like, this is the second one I've broken in 2 weeks. I don't know how I did it. Okay, so we had cinnamon life cereal and a breakfast sandwich. And then what was the other thing?
And the other kid had a slice of banana bread and Coke.
Okay, banana bread. Oops.
I should let you all know he snuck that in and didn't ask to have soda for breakfast.
You don't have to justify. We're not judging, man. We're not judging.
Okay.
Okay, so 12-ounce Coke, 8-ounce Coke, 16-ounce Coke.
The 16-ounce. The one in the plastic bottle.
Okay. Hold on. There's a magic thing that happens if I copy and paste here.
Sweet.
Oh, no, it doesn't happen. Control C. Wait. Oh, come on, man. It cleared my stuff. Okay. So I have to redo the formula here.
Okay. I'm gonna
Oh,
sip my
which is
mocktail.
that. There we go. Now, well, why don't you? Fine. I will make that work better. Okay.
Mhm.
So cinnamon life cereal, and what we know is that we had to add milk to that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Milk. See that my uppercase M is now not. I should just not try to do. Okay. So the sandwich. What was in the sandwich?
Okay, so a croissant,
Uh-huh.
cheese, egg, and sausage.
Okay. Come on, man. Okay, so croissant. Did I spell that right? I don't
It
know.
looks like it.
Cheese,
Mm-hmm.
egg.
Egg.
Was it pre-made?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Sausage?
Yeah, sausage patty.
Okay. If you were going to make it from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
you would have probably added salt to that at least. Anything else?
Probably. She doesn't like spice, so I wouldn't have added anything hot. I can't think of anything at the moment. What else I might have added? I may have added garlic to the egg.
Okay, so garlic. Garlic, garlic, garlic. All right. Was the banana bread homemade?
Yeah, my dad made it.
Hey, is there a way to put in like a million rows? Because I want to put in a million rows here.
You can highlight more than one.
But I want to. Okay, so let's see if that works. Oh, cool. See, look at you, Ms. Digital PA. Okay.
That would be an excellent assistant, let me just tell you.
Yeah. Okay, so banana bread has flour, sugar,
Bananas.
egg, banana. What else?
Never made banana bread. Probably baking
powder. Yep. Salt.
Yeah, and fat, so oil or butter. Maybe, unless that's in the banana.
Well, you tell me, oil or butter.
I would use butter. I wouldn't use oil.
Butter. Okay.
Dad probably used margarine.
Probably. We don't care what Dad used. We care what you use because we're gonna
butter.
build your pantry. Okay. So how much flour do you think?
Oh,
for the one piece of bread, not for the whole recipe.
Sorry, I cut.
Letty, I could share this spreadsheet with you, and you could be adding the ingredients right there. Literally. She said sometimes nuts are added. Were nuts added?
Oh, she's right. Yes, nuts. Yes, I feel nuts trying to figure this out. Wow, this is ridiculous.
So like walnut.
Right.
So if I was going to guess, I would say in a piece of banana bread, you would have about a quarter cup of flour.
Okay.
This does not have to be scientifically accurate. This is helping us get where we need to go. And a tablespoon of sugar and probably about 0.1 egg.
Yeah.
And the banana would probably be about,
a bite. I don't know.
Let's put 1/10 of a banana.
Three teaspoons, 1 tablespoon.
Baking powder is going to be probably a couple tablespoons for the whole recipe. So we'll give it a 1/4 tablespoon for the fun of it because whatever.
Pinch of salt.
Sorry, that is not right. Salt would have been about 0.25 teaspoon. And butter would have been about See, Letty's getting really. See, I'm telling you, Letty, you could just be doing this while we talk. I'm just saying. Okay, butter would be about 1 pat. We'll just do that. Walnuts would be about 2 walnuts.
Okay.
Okay. That was the hard one. Okay, Coke is Coke.
Sorry. I'm not making that.
Hey, the good thing about Cinnamon Life cereal is it's about 1 cup.
Yeah.
And the milk is probably a cup or half a cup?
No, probably half a cup.
Okay. Letty just doesn't want any more jobs. So we have 1 croissant. And cheese. 1 slice. Yeah. Egg. 1 egg.
Yeah.
Sausage. 1 sausage.
Patty. Yeah.
Okay. And then we see how, like, I can't properly cut and paste. Nope, it just doesn't like it. Oh, wait. That just doesn't have
let you pull down. That doesn't have a thing.
Yeah, that doesn't matter, actually. That's why. So, is there an issue? Tactical, come show people what you just brought in. If I plug this in, I'll have an uppercase S.
Maybe
that's Tactical.
Okay.
So, I love how he's got your back even when he's not there.
Yeah, he does. He's told. Okay, so that was breakfast, right? I'm gonna actually add a column to the left.
Not for me.
That's like meal. Yeah, because you don't eat.
Right. Right.
Okay. Then we're gonna go lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna actually type it right. Okay. What did you have for lunch on Sunday?
Okay. Lunch. I had beef cap and broccoli leftovers.
Beef what?
It was a slice of beef cap that I had made.
Beef calf. Beef. I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, cap. C-A-P.
Okay, beef cap.
That's what the package said.
The beef cap and what?
Broccoli.
Look, I know how to spell broccoli. Was that just you or was that all of you?
That was lunch. That was, hang on, let me look. No, that was just me.
Okay, what'd they have?
Carl's Jr. Kids meal.
Okay, Carl's Jr. 2 of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do the same thing here. I'm not going to actually make us go through every single meal on this because what we're going to do is get all your meals and then we will do this follow up. Otherwise, it'll take us 7 hours.
Everybody's going to be like, this is terrible. Boring.
Yeah.
What are we watching?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm assuming your beef has what?
Salt, pepper, garlic.
Oh, come on. I'm just having, like, people who are watching this want to grab my mouse out of my hand and make it work, just so you know. Okay, so you've got beef. You've got, hey, no, don't autofill. Come on, man. Not fun. Okay, beef, broccoli. Salt. What else?
Pepper. And garlic.
What else?
Cajun seasoning. It adds,
sounds good.
It's actually for like a crab boil, but it adds just the right kind of heat.
Yeah. Anything else?
Water.
Okay. We do not have to buy water. Letty's dying. She's watching. She's like, I don't need mama sauce more than I do at this moment. The spreadsheet mistress, but Letty's really good at it too. So nothing else in the beef broccoli? Okay. So how much beef was in there?
Whole beef cap was in there.
Like, is that how much?
I would say it was 2 pounds.
Okay. You ate 2 pounds of beef?
God, no. I ate. Okay, sorry.
I mean, I would do that on keto. I'd be like, and that's all I'm eating for today. So
I had
about a cup, 2 cups,
a cup.
1 cup.
Yeah, and I would say a cup of broccoli too.
Okay. One cup.
Yeah.
Okay. Salt, teaspoon.
Well, not on that one serving.
You sure? Because that's about how much I would have.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I probably put it. No, I didn't put it. I put a tablespoon of salt in the whole damn thing.
The
So
whole damn thing.
yeah, had a whole tablespoon.
So how much of that tablespoon was in a serving?
So let's say. Okay, so let's say teaspoon.
A teaspoon. Okay.
Yeah.
And pepper.
I just shook the crap out of it until it looked good. Let's do like a 1/4 teaspoon.
Yeah. Bloody, yes, we could do it that way. We're kind of going down and dirty today because there's only one of us here and I'm running the spreadsheet too. So Letty was asking, can you do like the recipe and then know what the portion is? Absolutely. That's, you can go the other way on that. Okay, garlic, 1/4 teaspoon.
Yeah.
Cajun spice.
Let's do 1/8 of a teaspoon.
Okay. Now let's talk about some Carl's Jr. This is how we handle going out to eat, guys, and that's why I'm glad we have our first fast food. What do they have? Like, what does a kid's meal have?
It's got a cheeseburger, fries, and a drink. Soda.
Okay. So potatoes.
Yeah.
Bun.
Yeah.
Hamburger patty.
Yeah.
Cheese.
Cheese.
Lettuce.
They don't put them on those.
Okay. No tomato or anything?
No. It had
Pickle?
ketchup though. Yeah, pickles. They love pickles. And yes, it had pickles.
Ketchup. Mustard.
Probably.
Anything else like mayonnaise?
No.
Okay. And the drink, like soda?
Yeah. Yeah. One had root beer, one had Coke.
Okay. We don't need to be that detailed.
Okay.
Okay. So how much potato is in the fries? About a half a potato or a whole potato?
They probably had half of a cup worth of fries.
Okay, so that's
probably
I'm going to call that half a potato.
Okay.
The bun is just a bun. We're going to call it a bun. The hamburger patty, it's 1 patty, right?
Yes.
Cheese is 1 slice.
Right.
Pickle.
There was probably 2 or 3 pickles on each one.
3 pieces. Ketchup. Tablespoon. 2 tablespoons by the time they dunk their fries in them.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. I would say 2 tablespoons.
So
one kid doesn't eat ketchup with their fries.
Okay, we're gonna fix a problem here in a second, but my B doesn't work because the keyboard. Even though Tactical brought me another keyboard, they're like, let's plug this in and see how this works. It's not that hard. There's a USB right there. Does this work? Oh man, keyboard setup assistant. Okay, this looks. Press the shift key. It's a Z. And the other weird key. And it's America. Oh, done. See, that's how fast that goes. Boom.
Sweet.
Maybe I have an uppercase S and an uppercase B now. Okay, mustard. How much?
I would say it's less than the ketchup, so probably 1 teaspoon.
1 teaspoon? Okay.
Yeah.
And then soda, I'm just going to call 1 unit. Is it 12 ounce, 8 ounce? What do you think?
I think they're probably 12 ounces.
Okay, 12 ounces.
I never measured but yeah.
Okay, so what I need to do is double all this, right? Because it's 2 meals.
Right.
So then that goes up to 6. That goes up to 4. This goes up to 2. This goes up to 2. Okay. Now we're gonna do one more meal, and then we're gonna go on to the next phase. So dinner. I'm gonna assume you don't snack. Do you snack?
At work, not at home on the weekends.
Sweet. We chose the right day.
Yeah.
Dinner. What was for dinner?
Okay. Dinner was. Why am I not seeing it on there? Hang on. I moved to my phone.
It's okay. Tori did her homework before this conversation.
I did. It was okay. So I made chicken curry, chicken coconut curry.
Did you all eat it?
Did I eat what?
Did all three of you eat the same meal?
Yes.
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 That makes your life so much easier. Okay. Yes. So chicken curry has chicken, coconut milk,
curry paste.
What kind of vegetables did you put in it?
Oh, carrot, potatoes, bell peppers, and onion.
Potato, bell pepper, onion. Anything else? Chicken stock?
I used chicken stock and I used curry paste.
Yeah, green curry paste.
I used the red curry paste, sorry.
Oh, sorry, it's for me. It would have totally been green if I was doing it. Okay, rice?
Rice, but also I had a little bit of brown sugar in there too, and lime juice.
Lime juice. That's everything?
Yeah.
Sweet. Dessert?
Yes. Ice cream.
Ice cream.
It's like you know me or something.
I mean, it's Sunday night, man. What are you gonna do?
Right.
Had to ask. I mean, if I had that, there'd probably be a late night snack too, depending on how late I stayed up. This is the thing. When you're planning your pantry, you can't hide that you eat food. Otherwise, you're going to be really hungry later. Okay, right. So chicken, how much? So you had 3 servings, right?
Right. And I made a lot of it so that I could have leftovers the next day. But in this case, it was just.
So for the 3 servings, how much chicken do you think it was? Like per serving, how much chicken? Per serving, per single serving.
Per serving, 2/3 of a chicken breast.
2/3 of a chicken breast. Can we just call that one chicken breast?
Yeah, that's fine. But you asked. So I used 6 breasts. Divided by 3 servings. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Coconut milk. You used 1 can for the whole batch.
I used 2 cans because I did a double batch.
Okay, and how many servings is a double batch? 8.
I would think so because it's considering I think a family of 4, not 3. But yeah.
So that's 0.75 of a can. Okay, carrots. How many carrots?
Let's say 3. Let's say half of a carrot per serving. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, so 1.5 carrots for 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Potato.
Let's do 1 potato. They're the small red potatoes, so.
So 1 potato per person?
Yeah.
Okay. Potato. Okay, bell pepper.
I use 1 bell pepper in the whole thing.
Okay, so half of the. Let's just go half of 1. We're gonna round up on that.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna do that math.
Okay.
Okay, onion.
I use 1 whole onion in the whole thing.
1 whole onion in the whole thing. We'll call it 0.5 of an onion for this meal.
Yeah.
Chicken stock.
That was.
Letty's already designing the spreadsheet that lets us put this whole recipe in and extract.
Better. Thanks, Letty.
Thanks, Letty. I know in your head you're like, I'm dying here, Nicole.
This is driving me nuts. Chicken stock, let's say 2 cups. No. Yeah, I probably used 2 cups in the whole thing. So
okay, so we'll go 1 cup.
Yeah.
Red curry paste.
And I use 4 tablespoons.
Okay, 2 tablespoons.
Yeah.
TBS.
Yeah.
Rice.
Okay, so the kids had rice, I didn't. So they probably had about half a cup each.
Okay, half a cup cooked.
Yes.
Okay, so half a cup cooked is approximately
Well, they each had half a cup, so I would say, I guess
1 cup cooked rice.
Yeah.
So it's a 1-to-3 ratio, and that makes it about a third of a cup. Dry rice. We're gonna go dry rice on this.
Okay.
Brown sugar
Brown sugar was 2 tablespoons total.
for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at that. See that uppercase B and S?
I love it. It's beautiful.
Isn't that great?
It is. So pretty.
Letty's going to be on next time with a whole new design for the spreadsheet. She's dying. Okay, lime juice.
That was another 2 tablespoons total.
Okay, 1 tablespoon. Ice cream.
Ice cream, we probably each had 1
cup.
So, yeah.
Okay, so 3 cups. Okay, is that everything you ate on Sunday, or did you sneak something else in?
I'm looking. Oh, I had caramel in my ice cream.
Okay.
And then, yes, that would be it.
Like 1 ounce?
Yeah.
Hey. We're going to go back. So,
Okay.
what you want to do is the rest of the week, right?
Yeah.
And turn it into this. The other thing you want to do is if you went to Taco Bell 9 times, what are your like favorite breakfast, lunch, and dinners?
My favorite lunch, I would say, like during the work week, if I were to go out and not bring leftovers, it would be Sweeto burrito.
You really like your burritos.
I do. I grew up making them when I would come home and mom and dad were.
Are they meat burritos or bean burritos?
Well, when I was a kid, they were bean burritos. But since I've had you and Jack in my ear, I forego the beans and have them meat. So yeah.
Okay.
I get the carnivore. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. And then dinner. If dinner is usually the one we go to the most, is going to be Taco Bell if we go out. And then breakfast is my favorite. Would be Sonic breakfast burrito.
Yeah. Okay. So. I'm hearing a lot about burritos here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking from a storage standpoint, that means you're eating tortillas, right?
Yes.
And don't feel guilty. Take that the heck out of your voice. If you eat tortillas, you eat tortillas. It does not matter. Do you know how to make those from scratch, though?
No.
Okay. Something I would suggest is, in your spare time, because you have so much. But one day when you do, you're like, hey, let's do a project together that's fun. Let's do this domestic thing. Make homemade tortillas and learn how to do that. Because it's basically, if you go flour, are you a flour tortilla or a corn tortilla person?
Flour.
So it's flour and oil. Sometimes people add a little bit of baking soda. I don't. And that's all I put in. And salt. And you make a dough that does not rise, and then you roll it out and you cook it. And the reason I know how to do this is when I lived in Germany in college, Mexican food supplies was not a thing in that country. It is, you can get them now. You couldn't just go buy tortillas. And so I was like, well, flour and butter, or flour and lard, or flour and any oil of any kind, and make a dough with some salt, because if you don't put salt in, it's just like disgusting. And then I'd made bread before, so I was like, okay, this can't be that bad. And rolled it out in rounds and just put it on a hot cast iron skillet and cook. And then you have a homemade tortilla. The reason I bring that up is 2 things. One, it can be a really fun project with your kids to do something like that from scratch. And they'll be like, yeah, remember that time we made tortillas from scratch?
Yeah.
2, if you do want to develop a deep pantry, it is easier to store flour than tortillas from a shelf stability standpoint. But what you don't want to do is go buy 150 pounds of flour for your tortillas and never use it. So the only way that works is if you start from time to time doing homemade tortillas. And now Letty's saying that they do freeze well. The other thing is if you have the freezer space, then tortillas freeze pretty well, especially if you heat them on the skillet on the way out. And that's your only like really precarious thing. So now we're going to categorize this. So when I said choose meals, the other thing is if you had to cook, if I said, I'm coming to your house tomorrow, feed me breakfast, what would you be like? Oh crap, I'm going to feed Nicole this.
Duck eggs, bacon. And...
So you do bacon, and would you feed yourself that if you were like,
oh God, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's good to have fallback meals like eggs and bacon and potatoes if that's what you're going to do. So a good one for breakfast is that. Or if you're more of a yogurt and fruit person, just know that you're more of a yogurt and fruit person. And the same thing for lunch. Like what would your lunch trigger meal be if you were like, crap, I didn't plan, but now I got to do lunch?
Oh, a burrito.
A burrito. I'm seeing a theme here.
I don't care where.
And then for dinner, what would it be?
Dinner, likely I would stop by, like, if I didn't want fast food, I would stop by the deli and get, like, you know, like the Safeway deli or something like that, and grab, like, potato salad and, you know, so, like the old, you know, like the typical barbecue kind of thing. Potato salad, corn, and a meat.
Okay, good. So I'm bringing that up because if you know what those placeholder meals are, when you do the rest of your week, if you went to the same fast food place a couple of times, substitute in either deli sandwich night, or I'm making meatloaf night, or hamburger helper night, or whatever it is that you could do from stuff in your house quickly, right? Because I think what happens to us is we think we can't do things quickly, and so we go to fast food.
Yeah.
But if you're planning your pantry, you need to start looking at, okay, what can I in fact do quickly with what's here? Okay, so that's what I'm saying is make those placeholder meals because you'll start planning your pantry. The other thing that'll start happening when you have those is some of those times when you're like, I'm just going to get Carl's Jr. You might say, you know what, I'm going to go home and I have pre-made hamburger patties in my freezer. We're going to make hamburgers, kids.
Yeah.
And it takes about the same amount of time. So, okay. Cinnamon Life cereal.
Mm-hmm.
This is a shelf. So we're categorizing now. Shelf stable. Milk. Perishable.
Mm-hmm.
Croissant. Perishable. Cheese. Perishable, but you can freeze it.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually freeze milk, but it ends up weird and grainy.
I've frozen milk since I was a kid. Nobody cares here.
Okay. Well, then we can make that not perishable. Freezable. Okay. Egg. Perishable or freezable?
I don't know. They're in my backyard. Perishable.
See, this is your resilient thing. This is where you have more resilience than you realize. Sausage patty is freezable. Yeah. Salt is shelf stable. Garlic, if it's dried, is shelf stable. We're going to go with dried on that one. Flour, shelf stable. Sugar, shelf stable. Egg, freezable. No, I'm sorry. We were saying perishable on that.
Perishable.
Banana, perishable?
Yes, because eventually it will go bad.
Yeah, shelf stable. Butter, freezable?
Well, I freeze my butter when I buy it in bulk.
Walnuts. Okay, walnuts are freezable if you want to extend their life, but a lot of it's shelf stable if you're not storing it for longer than about half a year.
Okay.
Coke is shelf stable until well beyond our lifetimes.
As long as you don't open it.
Yeah. We're getting rain.
Sweet.
So I just looked out my window and there's a redneck doing like rain. That's what he did, which is the equivalent of a happy dance because we've been wanting rain for like
3 years now.
2 weeks, huh?
How long has it been? Like 3 years since you've had rain?
Yeah, something like that. I was like, I'm gonna have to run the darn sprinkler on my darn hillside garden. Okay, beef is freezable, broccoli,
Freezable.
perishable, and freezable.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it perishable for a
Okay.
reason right now when we talk about this. Shelf stable, pepper is shelf stable, garlic is shelf stable, Cajun spicing is shelf stable, potatoes, perishable, bun, perishable, hamburger patty, freezable, cheese, freezable, pickle, shelf stable actually, ketchup is shelf stable, mustard is shelf stable, soda is shelf stable till the end of time. Yeah, Jody, you caught it. Okay, chicken, freezable. Coconut milk, shelf stable. Carrot, perishable. Potato, perishable. Bell pepper, perishable. Onion, perishable. This is like there's gray areas here, man. It's great. Chicken stock is usually shelf stable if you buy it at the store, right?
Yeah. They have expiration dates, and it will go bad if you go past that, though.
Okay. Red curry paste is shelf stable.
Yes.
Rice, I mean, everything goes bad eventually.
Yeah.
Brown sugar, shelf stable. Lime juice.
That's perishable. It will go rancid if after, and I keep it in the fridge.
Yeah. Okay. Caramel is that shelf stable or perishable?
Mine's in the pantry. It doesn't have to be refrigerated. So
the reason I did this, if you had in here lettuce,
yeah,
or any other fresh vegetables, that would have been perishable. So then when we're planning our pantry, right? We end up saying, okay, this is what we've got. Everything that's shelf stable, and I'm going to color this differently. Everything, except for it won't let me, because Letty's not here making it. It's all green. Why are you green? I want you to be red. Okay, I don't know why. Here's what I'm gonna do. Format.
Formula.
I know why. Okay, so ooh, that's a terrible red. So everything that's shelf stable is red. You know what that means? You
don't have to worry about it.
You can stock up on that, and the only thing you need to look at is how long does it really realistically last, right? Which is if it lasts a year, you can have a year's worth. If it lasts 10 years, you can have 10 years of it. It all depends how far do you want to build that. And I can tell you this, shelf stable ketchup does not necessarily go bad at its expiration date, but it does start losing color. And
it separates.
Depending on how you store it, it might not be. So all of these red things, to have a week's worth, you need to have, to have a day's worth, you need to have a cup of Cinnamon Life cereal. How many cups are in a box, right? 16?
Right.
Probably. I don't know.
Maybe? I don't know. I haven't counted.
Yeah, but you can look at the box and tell, and it depends on how free it is. Things that are freezable depends on your freezer space. And you told me something you wanted to talk about today was what to do about a problem you have with your freezer, right?
It's a terrible problem.
Tell me about your freezer problem. Is it full?
I have a chest freezer full of butcher box deliveries that I have not eaten in a while.
Okay. When's the last time you cooked meat from your freezer?
That beef cap.
Oh, sweet. That was this week. What's in there?
Oh, ground beef, chicken breast, some roast. I have pork belly because I also bought half a hog.
Yeah.
Twice. I bought a quarter hog twice anyways. And I've got the pork belly. My mom and dad said once I make bacon with it, then I need to share. And I'm like, what else is in there? Ground beef, roast, ribs. Oh, ribs too.
This is Letty's advice. Start cooking. Okay, we're gonna get back to this. On the things that are perishable, like a croissant, what you really need for that croissant, because you don't need to store 6 months of croissants in the freezer.
Right.
You need flour, butter, baking powder. You know what I'm saying? And
Adding it to my homework.
to develop a habit of baking some of the breads that you have. Not all of them, but your kids will not understand what home cooked bread tastes like, nor like it if it never happens. But the cool thing about kids is once you get them interested in baking, they might do all the work for you. So I'm thinking about your life, and it'd be awesome if one of them got into baking.
The boy would really love it.
See? And then you could be like, okay, this week we need, this much bread stuff. And then you can start planning how many pounds of flour you need, right? Yeah. The advanced skill is when you start grinding the wheat. Don't worry about that right now. Just
grind the wheat.
Get the stuff that's easy to work: the yeast, the flour, the baking powder, the baking soda, salt, and fats. And that's where perishables are things you want to look at, because you don't stock up on lettuce, right? The eggs, there are ways so the thing about perishables is your eggs are perishable, but you are regenerating that every day. You have animals laying eggs. So if you look at this spreadsheet, pets and livestock is a tab, right? We're just doing the food tab right now. It's
God, I didn't even see those.
Yeah, so it's food, medicine and first aid, paper and cleaning supplies, pets and livestock, clothing and bedding. Once you get the food under control, you have a food savings account that you're comfortable with, you can go on to the next thing, right? And I actually would move pets and livestock there, probably. Food, pets, and the medicine. Those three are super important. If you run out of toilet paper in a crisis, there are probably 40,000 ways you can get that function taken care of with other things you already have in your house. And water, which comes out of the tap for a lot of people. But when you go through your perishable items, you'll see like, okay, eggs are perishable, but you can freeze them. Or you can get dried eggs. Or you can feed your ducks or chickens and they will make you eggs. And so you're not so worried about that. The cycle you have there is it's like a self-sufficient cycle that's feeding itself. And it's awesome that you have that.
Yeah.
So, a banana, like, do you need to store? But you can make banana breads without the banana, right?
Right.
If it comes down to it. Broccoli, you can freeze it. You can buy canned broccoli. You can grow broccoli. What could you put with your beef that's not broccoli that comes out of your garden if you have one?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I could make a salad. I've got beets, celery. What else is in there? Tomatoes are in there.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
So that's something where when I evaluate it, do I need to store a bunch of broccoli or do I need to have a growing system? It really depends on your lifestyle. And that's a lifestyle question. Potatoes. This is a big one. Potatoes store really well for about 6 months in the right environment, fresh.
I've never grown potatoes.
You don't need to grow them. You need to store them. Growing potatoes is easy. So there's that. But this isn't like go out and grow all the things, right? You've got a bun here again. If you get your kid into baking, and carrots again. Carrots and potatoes store well in a root cellar.
I have a cellar.
If you're not going to store them though, so what I would do is think how many potatoes and carrots do we use in a month or two, and try storing those and see if it works in your cellar. Because your cellar may not have, but it's cool. It's dark. If the humidity's right, you may find that you can store potatoes for 6 months, or you may find that you can store them for 2 months. And that helps you know what size cushion to have. The only way to find that out is to start, and then you need to check on them once a week. Otherwise, what do you do to fill this need if you can't store it in your root cellar?
Both of those don't freeze well. They're nasty when they unfreeze. So there's canned.
You can can them. You can blanch them and freeze them, and they'll store better and be less nasty. What could you substitute for them?
I have Jerusalem artichokes too
Mm-hmm.
out there, so that's a good substitute for the potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
The carrots, well, the beets wouldn't be terrible.
Would
Um,
chicken curry be good without carrots?
yeah, it'd be fine.
There's that. Would it be good
Yeah,
without potatoes?
I think so. Because I could like throw in eggplants or something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could throw in lots of different veggies.
And the onion, if it wasn't fresh, could you use dried onion?
Of course.
See, so what I find on the perishable things, the lime juice is perishable. You can buy jars of shelf-stable lime juice. You can
Yeah.
skip it. Most of the time when we have a perishable item, you can substitute something or do without it, and it's still tasty.
Yeah.
And I just bring that because when you're planning, you don't have to plan for every contingency of thing or ingredient. Okay. So we've already figured out that your son's learning how to, it's going to start baking once a week now.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a lot of shelf stable things you can store from this. I'm going to go back to I actually have an agenda here.
Okay. I'm writing down my homework.
So your homework is do the rest of your meals for the week.
Okay.
And extrapolate it into ingredients. And then what we want to do is get a total amount that you've used. So if it's 1 box of Cinnamon Life cereal a week you think you go through, that's fine. If you have 6 boxes of Cinnamon Life cereal, you have 6 months supply, right?
Great.
Or 6 weeks supply. Sorry. I just did creative math on that one. And if you can develop some new habits over time, like that baking habit starting could be really fun, but it's one thing. And I wouldn't start like 5 habits at one time in your family because that's a lot of change.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You can store Coke, and then start looking at your fast foods. This is not me telling you to eat less fast food. It's me asking you, do you want to eat less fast food?
Yes.
What's keeping you from eating less fast food?
I would say the biggest thing is that all my meat is frozen and I forget to pull it out in the morning. And so when I get home, I can't make meatloaf with a frozen block or burgers with a frozen block of ground beef.
What time do you usually get home? 5?
Between 5:30 and 6.
So you get home at 6, everybody's hungry, and you don't want to spend 2 hours trying to defrost meat.
Yeah.
And then, totally makes sense to me.
And I think most of the work comes in the thinking up what the heck I'm going to eat, as opposed to the actual cooking of the meat.
Yeah. So with a freezer full of meat, if you want to start tapping into it, there are 2 things you can do. One is it's Sunday today, right? Which is a day you have a little bit more time.
Yes.
You can go to your freezer today and pull out all the meat for the week for meals.
That's true.
Which I am not a meal. So Letty's saying meal plans, right? I am not I'm going to have this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday planner. I've tried that. It kind of works. Things move around. But what I will do is I will go to the freezer and pull out 3 pounds of ground beef, a roast, a chicken, and something else, and put it all in my fridge to defrost, and know that by tomorrow when I get home, the ground will probably be defrosted if I don't have it crammed in with all the frozen stuff, right? I also know if I do something like hamburger helper, spaghetti, or any of those things, you can just cook straight from frozen and brown it. You don't have to defrost it. It'll cook. But having it defrosted and ready to go really works for me. And you can do that once a week and it'll still be good by the end of the week. So that's a habit. So you can have the habit of baking for your son and the habit of pulling out 3 or 4 kinds of meat to defrost in your fridge for the week so that you're less often in that situation. I think you're still going to buy fast food sometimes because you're tired and don't want to cook, right?
Yeah.
That's okay.
And if it's hot.
If it's hot, yeah. The crock pot is also your best friend.
That's true. And I've got a Instapot knockoff. So.
Oh man, you can go straight from frozen to Instapot. You know that, right?
Yes, and I've done that with whole chickens before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we get this list, right? So that's just a couple of habits we've noticed. And what I know is when we start working on our pantries, we discover there are some habits we can change that'll make our lives better. So I'm just pointing them out. You can do with that what you want. You don't have to do it. Like it doesn't matter, but that'll help give you room in your freezer for the broccoli you need to blanch and freeze later.
It's okay. I have a whole fridge and freezer down in the basement too, along with the chest freezer. It's empty, so I've got room.
Yeah. I make a lot of stew here because I'm like, if I just throw everything in the crock pot frozen and turn it on with some spices, it becomes stew. And stew is tasty. And I actually work from home, so think about that. Like I have time at lunch to be like, actually, I could pull something out. No, but I don't do it. I do. I pull it all out once a week usually. I don't need to be there. Let's see. Where is the... Okay. So your assignment is finish this, then look at the totals of what you have. Like how much salt do you use? How much, like put the salts all on one line. And I use the sort feature on the spreadsheet to move everything by ingredient. Figure out how much of that is there. And you want to include the fast food meals or the going out to dinner meals as well as the other ones for planning purposes. From that, extrapolate how much you use for a week.
Okay.
Go to your pantry, to your freezers, everywhere and say, okay, how many weeks of food do I have here? What you're probably going to find out is you have 6 months of meat in your freezer, which is cool. Like that means you've already got it, right? And you may find out that you don't have enough salt. Salt is something I'm thinking about here where I'm like, we actually go through a fair amount of salt around here, and I might want to get a 25-pound bag and just be done with it. The thing is, humidity makes it into a 25-pound brick. So then I have to think about, do I have the space to store it? So every time you think that, I'm going to store this, also add, do I have a place to put it, and can I store it without it going bad? Because what you don't want is 150 pounds of flour that's not properly sealed from pantry moths, and then pantry moths come and kill it all. And then from there, say, okay, I've got 6 weeks of meat, and I've got 2 weeks of all the things that go with meat that make meat delicious. So what I'm going to do is concentrate on adding 4 weeks of all the things that make meat delicious, right? And then look at your budget, your food budget, and decide how many of those things you can buy each week, or if you can just do it all. If you can do it like a land grab and get yourself all the way up to 6 weeks. Once that's done, you've got 6 weeks of food stored, and you know what it is, and you know how to use it. And what happens is you start being more motivated to cook at home, first of all, because you know you have the stuff. But you also then can do the next thing, which is what?
The next, pets and livestock?
Pets and livestock. Yeah, and so the 6 week number, that would be my minimum line. I'm more of a 6 month to 12 month person personally. But if you start with an extra week and then an extra month and then an extra 6 weeks, that'll get you through a lot of stuff if stuff gets funky.
Right.
So I'm just going to say, go ahead.
Because it's going to give me permission to, I have a bunch of things that are canned from the store, that I'm just like, I'm probably never going to eat this stuff.
Okay.
Because it doesn't look tasty. Every time I go down there, I'm like, nope.
Well, what's that there for then?
I bought it in the midst of COVID stuff. I was at the store. I'm like, okay, I have no canned supplies, so I'm going to buy some canned soups and this other stuff. And it's probably not even worth eating at this point in time anyway.
Well, There's two things you can do with that. One, you can choose 3 or 4 of those cans every week and build them into your meals and get them and use them.
Right.
Or you can donate them.
Right.
And either one's fine. I actually will eat some of the stuff I would not usually eat because I spent money on it and I'm cheap.
Right.
Right? That's okay. I keep a couple of commercially canned beef stew, which is not even beef stew that's all that tasty. Because if I'm sick, I don't have to boil it for 5 minutes out of the mason jar, right? I can just heat it in the microwave and I'm done. And sometimes when you're super sick, as you know, because you're recovering from COVID,
yep,
you're like, I made it to the microwave and I opened this can. And that's all I'm getting done today.
To have a 12-year-old child,
child, bring me the stew. Bring me the stew. Yeah, so look at that because it's taking space. And if you are storing things you don't eat, you are not storing things you do eat.
Right.
So definitely see if you can transition that. I would say the other thing is if you are worried about the state of the world and you can eat rice and beans and those sorts of things, it's okay to store that, even though I make fun of people who store that, right? Where if like I can't actually eat beans, I would die if I ate them because I'm allergic. But if I was super worried about the state of the world and all I had was $50, I would get $50 worth of rice and beans and put them somewhere shelf stable. And the other thing I would buy would be some salt and spices because rice and beans without salt and spices is terrible, right? It's just that, and that's more of a cultural thing. And then once that gap was filled, I would be going back to this method, which is to take the spreadsheet and figure out what do we really eat, what's shelf stable that we can store, right? Pop-up Homestead says making homemade pasta is fun at home. Yeah, so my mom and my sister and my niece and my brother-in-law are all coming here on July 5th or so. And my sister called me because she knows I'm keto, and she's like, "Do you have pasta?" And I said, "Well, I actually have a box that's marked carbs in my pantry because people visit me who eat carbs, and so I have some carbs." And I said, "And if for some reason that's gone bad, I've got flour, and we can make it from scratch, and it'll be fun because I have a pasta roller." Like, yeah, homemade pasta is delicious. And sometimes I eat pasta even though I'm keto, just rarely. And then my niece later.
I cannot stand pasta.
Okay. Your kids like pasta?
The kids love spaghetti. The kids love fettuccine. The kids love that stuff. I won't eat it. Not lasagna, not any of it. I won't eat it. I don't like pasta.
But storing some of that for them then makes sense, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And teaching your son how to make it from scratch makes it so you only have to store eggs and
he would love that. I'll keep an eye out in the stores for the pasta maker.
Yeah. It's all of that stuff is good. So I think you have more stored than you realize, first of all. And I think what you're going to find, and I'd love to hear back from you, is that there were 2 or 3 things where you had a couple weeks of that and everything else was fine. And now you're all caught up and now you can decide what to do next.
Right.
I have a feeling that's what's going to happen.
This will be cool. And am I tracking next week as well what I eat?
No. I would fill this out, figure out what gaps you need to fill in. And the reason I did it this way is it's 1 week of food. And if you store all of the things you eat in that 1 week for 6 months, it's a little boring. So when you put your mind to it, be like, okay, but in reality, I'm not going to have curry chicken every single week.
Right.
Figure out that variety. I think you can do that on your own. And the purpose of this is the fast track. If you want to be more accurate, do a whole month of meal tracking and extrapolate it out into this. And then you'll have a better idea. Most of us, though, many of us eat the same things every week. Or it's the same ingredients. Like you'll eat burritos every week.
Right. No, I will.
Yeah, that's okay. And you've got a freezer full of meat, some of which is ground beef.
A lot of which is ground beef. Butcher Box had that special a year ago, and I signed up for it.
Yeah, so you can make burritos so quickly from frozen.
Yeah.
just by having the right things on hand. If you have cheese and tortillas that you can tap into, you're done. And your kids are probably happy too, because burritos are delicious.
They love them.
Mm-hmm.
They love
So,
them.
and then the other piece of this is if you have perishables on here that you can regenerate, like your eggs or lettuce, things that you can grow, learning the skill, like I add a skill list next. It's like, okay, I've got my food, I've got my stable stuff. These things, if I learn how to do it, baking, tortilla making, lettuce growing, pasta making, that goes on my skills list. That's a long-term development thing that I'm going to build in as a habit that I decide if I'll do it or not. An example of this is mayonnaise. I know how to make mayonnaise. Yeah. I'm pretty good at making mayonnaise. I rarely make mayonnaise. I usually buy mayonnaise because it's something I just don't want to build into my day. On the other hand, I will make from scratch the heck out of some pasta noodles. If I'm going to do lasagna, it's always almost always from scratch noodles. And that's based on what I like to do, right? Yeah. Every so often I make mayonnaise to remind myself how. That's it. Yep, I can still do that. Okay, next.
I do that with yogurt. I don't particularly like eating it, but I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I can still make it.
I can still make yogurt, yeah. Kids like it, right?
Oh, they do. They think that's weird and cool at the same time.
That's weird and cool.
But I can make yogurt. They're like, what?
You can make that, Mom? Really?
Yeah.
But that's cool. Awesome. Well, any other questions before we wrap?
No. I mean, just a comment. I mean, you mentioned, this is the fast track, and then I could do a month-long thing of tracking and stuff. And then you also mentioned that like 6 weeks minimum. I could see it being like I do a week and build up for the 6 weeks worth of food, and then track another week and build up that 6 weeks, and eventually you're at 24 weeks.
Yeah. Or you can do 4 week sets if you want variety. So you can do a week, build up 4 weeks of that, do a different week, build up 4 weeks of that, and just keep going. However, the only way this works is if you also use it. And like hearing that your freezers are full and you're not using it just makes me want to say start using it, because Butcher Box keeps coming every month.
Yeah.
And you know this because your freezers are full. And you're not the only person I've talked to in this situation because of the Butcher Box. Like I know somebody who may be listening right now who's like, yep, that totally happened to me. And then they also buy like cuts of meat at the store. That's not an unusual place. My sister is that way, I think, right now with Butcher Box, where she's like, I gotta eat some of this. I gotta pause it for 3 months. I'm like, yep. It's okay. As long as you just start using it. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I don't see any questions from the audience. Two old crows homestead is super helpful. Thanks for sharing. I would love to have a few more people on to talk through what their real week looks like, because here's what I noticed about Tori is it looks like often a single meal is 3 meals for her, which would drive me crazy.
Well, and that's Sunday. So the kids eat the same thing when they go to childcare. On the rest of the week. On the weekends, that is typical. We have 3 different breakfasts because I'm usually in the morning. Yeah. My kids make whatever the heck they're making based on what's here. Yeah. And so I don't make them breakfast on the weekends. I don't make them lunch either. They're responsible for themselves. Okay, they're so that's 12. Good. As long as you're not making 3 meals, that makes sense to me. That makes sense. Yeah. Can you report back in a week or 2? When do you want to report back? Yeah. I mean, I don't care either way. Yeah. Shoot me an email maybe when you've gotten through, like, I documented it. I figured out what I need to do, and just tell me, this is what I figured out I need to do. And then I'll report back to everybody else if that works for you. That works. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to share this. Do you use Google Docs? Yes. Okay. I'm going to share this with you so you have your own spreadsheet. Okay, cool. To work from. This is yours. And guys, I will be putting this out at some point on the membership portal. I'm not actually trying to hide it behind membership, so we'll figure out a way to get it out on the Telegram and the MeWe in case people want to see the spreadsheet. The problem is Letty is like, I have so many ideas. So I'm going to talk to Letty first before we put a template
out. I think we'll develop a template over time. But this is how it works. And this gives you a much better experience if you do have to depend on your pantry to have the things you actually eat. Okay, here's a question. We usually cook more for supper to eat for lunch. Just record it that way? Yeah. So if you do, what I do is rolling leftovers. So I will cook. Today I'm smoking an entire like ham worth of pork that is not a cured ham. So it's going to be a bunch of pulled pork. And what I'll do with that is it will be pulled pork one night. It will be pork in a stir fry the next night. It will be leftover stir fry for lunch the next day. It's okay to record it all that way. What you're looking for at the end of the week is what did you use this week in total? And some people do different meals each time. Some people do more what I do, which is to cook a really big thing and just keep eating on it. That's the thing about it. It's hard to give people a list of what to store because we all eat differently. So I would, for you two Old Crows Homestead, if you're cooking for supper and lunch, I would just put it all as supper and lunch. And then you've got 2 of your meals done. You don't even necessarily have to break it up by meal. If you already know this whole batch and this list of ingredients is what I needed for supper and for lunch. So that may allow you to shortcut some of what we were doing here. And even Tori said like that chicken curry was her next day meal too.
Yeah.
Which
I had it for work lunch like twice, 2 more times, and then we also had it for leftover dinners.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a lot of people do that. We do this and that night by the end of the week here, where it's like half a serving or a serving of all these different things. And when you eat your leftovers, that's just what happens. And I like leftovers. Some people hate them.
Oh, yeah. I like it. My ex never ate them.
Yeah, I love them.
I love them.
They taste better after all the spices have like gelled in the fridge.
Right? They've just been sitting there and melding together. Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. Well, I hope this is helpful. I'm going to see if I can get somebody else scheduled this week. I've got, I think Tactical's mom's going to hop on at some point because she's starting a different prepper journey. And it'd just be interesting to get different walks of life because Tori is like, she's a hybrid of busy single mom and also has a homestead.
Yeah.
Which means she's already getting some stuff off her land, which I'm sure helps your budget keep down. And that's pretty awesome.
It does. But I got a lot going on.
Yeah, it'd be fun to have somebody who's like 100% apartment or condo living in the city. See what you need to do.
Oh,
and, yeah. See, that'd be a fun talk. Because this method works for everybody, but the spreadsheet's going to look different for everybody.
Yep.
So anyway, guys, thanks for joining in, and we'll be back another time with another live broadcast. And Tori, thanks for being willing to expose your Taco Bell, your love of burritos.
I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. Awesome. Take care.
Thanks.